The first NBA champions. Spring 1947. The air in Philadelphia carried that familiar feeling of a city waiting for history. Outside the arena, streets were alive with Post-war America men in pressed coats, newspaper boys calling headlines. Inside, beneath the glow of overhead lights, the hardwood floor stood silent. No banners hung above. No championship legacy existed yet. No team had ever lifted a professional basketball title on this stage. Because this was the beginning, the very first championship in the history of what would later become the National Basketball Association. And at the center of it stood the Philadelphia Warriors. In 1947, the league was not yet officially called the NBA. It was the Basketball Association of America Bay, the direct foundation of the modern NBA. The season itself felt experimental. The arenas were larger than old gymnasiums, but the game was still young. There was no global audience, no television on pier, no finals, MVP trophy, only a handful of teams, a growing crowd, and the belief that professional basketball could become something lasting. This was not yet a dynasty-driven league. It was still learning how to breathe. And yet, within that uncertainty, the first champions were about to emerge. The Philadelphia Warriors were not simply a talented team. They were the right team for that moment. Coached by Eddie Gottlieb, they carried a style built on sharp movement, teamwork, and the scoring brilliance of one man, Joe Fulks. Fulks was unlike anything the young league had seen. Tall, fluid, and fearless with the ball. He became the league's first true scoring star. Long before names like Jordan, Kobe, or Curry, there was Fulks. He played with a freedom that felt ahead of his time. In many ways, he was basketball's first offensive artist. The path to the championship was not simple. The playoff structure of the 1940s was very different. The Warriors advanced through a series of short playoff rounds, defeating the St. Louis Bombers and New York Knicks. On the other side stood the Chicago Stags, a tough, disciplined team that had survived a difficult road. This was the matchup that would define the first chapter of professional basketball history. Warriors versus Stags. Philadelphia versus Chicago. The first final, April 16th, 1947. Nearly 8,000 people filled the arena. For the first time, a professional basketball championship game was about to begin. The air must have felt heavy. Not with pressure, but with possibility. And then the game began. Philadelphia came out strong. By halftime, they led 34-20. Then Joe Fulks took over. He scored 29 points in the second half, including 21 in the fourth quarter alone. The final score, Warriors 84, Stags 71. A statement. Beginning. A sign that the city of Philadelphia might be watching the birth of something unforgettable. The Warriors won the second game as well. Then the third. By now, the rhythm of history had begun to settle. The Stags managed to avoid a sweep by winning Game 4, but something already felt inevitable. Philadelphia had momentum, confidence, identity. And in the decisive fifth game, with the score tied late, it was Howie Delmar who delivered the defining shot. With less than a minute remaining, Delmar hit the jumper that broke an 80-80 tie. The Warriors won 83-80 series result. Warriors win 4-1. The first champions had been crowned. There is something deeply poetic about being first. No tradition exists before you. No footsteps to follow. No banners to inspire. Only uncertainty. The first championship ring is never just metal. It becomes a symbol of belief, of risk, of pioneers stepping into something unknown. For those Warriors players, that title was not merely a trophy. It was proof that professional basketball belonged. When people speak of champions, history often remembers dynasties. The Boston Celtics, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Chicago Bulls. But before all of them, there was Philadelphia, the first men to hold the title, the first team to define what championship basketball meant. And because they were first, their legacy carries something sacred, a beginning that can never be repeated. The story of the first NBA champions is not only about winning, it is about foundation. Every modern finals series, every championship parade, every banner hanging from arena rafters. Back to those spring nights in 1947, the Warriors did more than win a title. They gave the league its first memory, its first legend, its first proof that this sport could become history. Some victories echo louder because they are first. The first title is different. It is raw, uncertain, pure. The Philadelphia Warriors were the first champions, not only of a league, but of an era before billion-dollar franchises, before worldwide broadcasts, before the NBA became a global language. There was a hardwood floor in Philadelphia, a ball bouncing under arena lights, and a team brave enough to step into the unknown. History remembers champions, but it never forgets the first.